We're so pleased to be welcomed by Wasim and Andrea Khan, as they'll be taking us through the Swahili language tonight, which is very exciting. I've been looking forward to this one for a while. If you're not familiar, my name is Evan Verplu. I am the program manager here at the International Relations Council. We are a nonpartisan, apolitical organization that provides a platform for greater understanding of international topics and how they relate with the Kansas City community. For the most enjoyable event tonight, we'd love if you would, if you're not speaking, just to remain on mute. However, we'd like to make this engaging as possible. So if you'd like to turn on your cameras, it's always nice to see a group of smiling faces to make this feel like a really supportive group atmosphere. We will be recording this and broadcasting it live to Facebook. So if you'd like to revisit anything here in the conversation tonight, you'll be able to here in the days after the event. And if you'd like to connect with the IRC further, feel free to head to our website, irckc.org. You might have seen we have a lot of upcoming events from other language lessons, upcoming lectures, cooking classes, and everything in between. So as I mentioned, we're joined by Wasim Khan, who is the CEO of Indigenous to Indigenous and the Baraza African Culture Center. And Wasim is joined by Andrea Khan, who serves as the COO of the Baraza African Culture Center and the Outreach Director for the Ethnic Enrichment Commission of Kansas City. They do a ton of work for the international community here in the Kansas City area, and they've been great supporters of the IRC, and we're so happy to have you donate some of your time tonight. So without further ado, take it away.
Hamjambo mabibi na bwana, karibuni leo. Tutaongea lugha yetu ya Kiswahili. Naona kuna watu wengi sana, nimefurahi. I was talking to you guys, so I hope I am naongea Kizungu na Kiswahili pamoja. So if there is a time that you cannot understand me sababu unasikia Kiswahili, I think there's something wrong with your volume. So jina langu ni Bwana Khan kutoka Kenya, originally from East Africa. Kama mko na maswali, munaweza kuniuliza. Are we okay? All right, so basically, I am Wasim Khan. I'm born in Kenya. I grew up there. I speak 7 languages. And what you just heard was a bit of how I communicate with my friends back at home. We pick different languages to describe certain events. So it's a mixture of English with other languages. But tonight, we are going to concentrate on Swahili. Andrea? Andrea is my, how would I say? I don't want to say my guinea pig, but Andrea is somebody that actually went to Kenya and taught English. So
I teach English.
Well, you are speaking English.
Yes.
And so we are going to be doing this together. Andrea is going to make me look like a superstar, and I'm going to try and make her look like a superstar, but she already is a superstar. So I can see very many lovely faces, people that I already know. And again, I want to be very joyful because there was quite an event today that happened in America. And that just reminded me of little bit things that growing up, I saw in Africa happening. Never did I think that would happen here, but it was quite intriguing. And I am, again, very excited to see so many people join me on a day like this. So, karibuni.
Now I'm going to talk.
Yes, you get to talk. We have a chat.
And
Okay.
Thank you for letting me join in here. And we see lots of friends we already have been friends with for years and some brand new faces. So we're excited to make friends with the new people tonight too. And we've planned this to be kind of a very casual and more of a discussion type thing. We will give a little presentation to give some background on Swahili, or Kiswahili, as you would say if you were speaking the language. But at any point in time, we welcome your input, your questions, your thoughts, suggestions. And I think one thing that would be fun to start out with is if we have any Swahili speakers on the call, or maybe if there's anybody who has traveled to Africa, especially East Africa.
Oh, there we go.
We have some hands. Okay, we have to, are you travelers, speakers, both?
Hi, I'm also Andrea.
Hi, Andrea.
I went to Tanzania with my mother about a year and a half ago. We were there for 10 days, and prior to going, I looked up an app to help me with some language learning, and I found Duolingo, and I started learning about 6 months before I went. And so now I've been sort of noodling around on Duolingo in Swahili for about 2 years. And I have so many questions, and no one can answer my questions because I can't find anyone in the Minneapolis area who speaks Swahili or knows someone who speaks Swahili. So I was just randomly found this on Meetup the other night.
And you said you're in Minneapolis?
I would be interested in having questions answered about language that I seem stuck on.
Sure.
I'm kind of surprised being in Minneapolis. We have a lot of the Somali population
and many Kenyans
and a lot of Kenyans. So you should be, hopefully we will answer the questions that you have.
And maybe we can help connect you with some people or organizations.
And I can see there's a...
Uh-oh, Anna just wrote to you in Swahili too.
Which is very nice. Nice. Okay, perfect. All right, so...
And Marilyn, I think she said she traveled.
Marilyn, go ahead.
Habari gani. I was a Peace Corps volunteer in eastern part of what is now DR Congo. It was Zaire at the time. So it's a Swahili-speaking region heavily influenced by French.
Yes.
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 Wow, that would be an experience.
Yeah.
Very fun. Well, maybe what we'll do first is we have a little bit of a presentation to fill in some background for people that might not be as familiar. For those of you who have some familiarity, please chime in at any point in time and add what you can to it. We're better together than individually, so we would love that. But Evan, do I have permission to share screen here?
You should. If not, I can.
No, we got it.
We'll find out. This is either going to work or not work.
Okay.
No, we'll see if I'm
There
smarter than that.
Can everybody see that? All right. So,
and just as an introduction, I know I mentioned earlier that Kiswahili is what you say, how you say the Swahili language in Swahili. And as you'll learn as we go through this, Ki is a prefix that means it's a language. So anytime you see a word with Swahili, it starts with Ki, you're talking about the language. As many of you probably know, Swahili is the national and official language of Kenya and Tanzania. Over 50 million people in Eastern and Central Africa speak Swahili, and about 1 million of those, it is their first language or their primary language. But for the majority of the others, they are fluent, but it might be their second, their third, or their fourth language. Many Africans you meet here speak at least 3 fluently. Wasim just mentioned that he speaks 7. It's also spoken as a native language along the coast of Africa, from southern Somalia down through Tanzania, and a lot of the islands such as Zanzibar, Lamu, the Comoro Islands, and even the northwestern part of Madagascar speak Swahili. It's considered the lingua franca of Africa, so it's the bridge language that brings a lot of Africans together. So it is spoken by millions, mainly in Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, and East Zaire, but there's also speakers in Mozambique, Rwanda, Burundi, Zambia, Malawi, Congo, and it even goes as far as some of the southern Arabian countries, such as Yemen and Oman. And even though you'll get some differences as you travel those places, it unifies a lot of Africa. One of the reasons why it is so good to learn Swahili is it's one of the ones that is widely found globally. It's aired in radio broadcasts like on the BBC or on Voice of America. It's heard in songs of famous people such as Miriam Makeba and in popular films like The Lion King. And if you get really bored later, we can even teach you some Lion King Swahili. So we'll see if we get to that. African Americans have Kwanzaa right after Christmas, and it is built with Swahili words. In fact, the word Kwanzaa means first in Swahili. And it is one of the most widely taught African languages around the world. So you will find Swahili taught in institutions from Japan in the east to Mexico in the west.
To China.
And do you want to tell them why it's very popular in China right now?
A lot of, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but there's a lot of investment by the Chinese in Africa. And they have heavily invested in East Africa. And what they have done is it's a curriculum now in China that they start teaching you Swahili from kindergarten. And to my surprise, I met a Chinese that spoke better Swahili than I did. It was quite intriguing. This was like priceless, you know. Normally it happens to me when I walk in a room and people are talking about me, but here we were talking about this Chinese fellow, and he intrigued us by speaking back to us. So yeah,
studying the language teaches you more than just how to speak the language. Of course, it teaches you the culture and a lot about history. And so we'll just give a few examples of the rise of Swahili. In some ways, you can find a lot of Swahili literature. The earliest preserved Swahili writing is from the 18th century, and it was actually written with the Arabic script. Yes. Even though Swahili today is written with the Latin or Roman alphabet, the same alphabet we use. So that is one reason it's easy for Westerners to learn it, is the same alphabet and it's easy to read. In the 1930s, when the British colonized much of East Africa, they decided to standardize the language, which is when the English alphabet really started being used for that. And they put together some formal scholarly rules for Swahili. But the first fiction that was written was more from traditional African stories, or maybe Arabic stories, or maybe translated from another language. But starting in about the mid-1960s, the rise of Swahili literature really came about with the ideas and the thoughts and the messages and the stories. But it's interesting because it was right after the countries along there gained independence. Yeah. So the rise of the literature really came about with independence, and there's some very strong African writers today who are writing in Swahili. The film industry is still growing in East Africa. We all know Hollywood and Bollywood, and a lot of people know Nollywood, which is West Africa. But the East African film scene is also growing. Most of it is based in Nairobi, partly because a lot of the equipment is there. You can find trained technicians, filmmakers there. But a lot of these movies are made in a combination, like Wasim was saying, of languages. Some are mostly Swahili, but they might have a local language or English mixed in, and some are mostly in English just with some Swahili. So they're very accessible to Westerners to watch those. And music, which Wasim worked with African musicians for years. There's the traditional things that you would expect, but the African music scene and the East African music scene really rivals the West African music scene, with popular artists, hip hop artists, gospel singers, country singers. And yes, country music is very big in Africa.
The images you see on right now, these are all African Kenyans, superstars, Kenyan and Tanzanian. One of the things that is very popular, like Andrea said, was country music, and I never thought of that until I came here. And all of a sudden, I was listening to Kenny Rogers, and I was like, "Hey, I know that music." And all of a sudden I relate it back, and it's really big at home. And I actually am not a fan of country music. And since I was doing shows, we were, before Kenny Rogers passed away, we were going to take him to Kenya for the independence, Kenya's 50th independence, but things didn't work out. We have a gentleman in the wearing a hat, Simon, right there. He does a lot of country music, but in his native language, Kikuyu.
Yeah, and I was just going to put a few of the other people on there. I don't know if you know that there's actually MTV Africa Music Awards also. So down at the bottom, Wahoo Kagwe, she was the first recipient for the best female singer in Africa. And up on the top over here, Nameless, he also won for best male artist.
Yeah.
And so a lot of these people are doing big things. Unfortunately, we don't hear about them here, but these people, Nameless, Musaimo Wasim talked about, this is Ali Kiba, a Tanzanian singer, and Wahoo, they have actually all done concerts here in Kansas City. And for my friend Andrea up in Minneapolis, they've all been to Minneapolis too, doing concerts. So there's a lot of these things going on. Sometimes we don't hear about them, but that's part of the purpose for doing programs like this, so we can connect and find these things and maybe find something new that we didn't know we wanted to see. But back to a little bit more about the language. And we talked about how the language really helps you understand the culture and the people. And one of the things that Swahili does, Swahili's in a family of languages called Bantu languages. And while I've talked about how accessible it is for Westerners because it is written in our alphabet, it's phonetically written, it's phonetically pronounced, which makes it all much easier. Bantu languages kind of have complex grammar systems. And one of the things that Swahili has, if you can believe this one, Swahili has 13 noun classes. It would be like if you were learning one of the Romance languages and they had 13 genders that you had to keep track of. And some of the noun classes are divided by type. So if you see at the top, when you talk about people, if you have one person, Mtu, and if you have more than one person,
Watu.
So the Mwa nouns normally pertain to people. And if you go over to trees, plants, body parts, they are also a different noun class. So if you have one tree,
Mti.
And if you have multiple trees,
Mti.
see, we work well as a team.
It's intriguing. You can pronounce something and ask for something totally different. So you have to be very careful in the Swahili language. We have a lot of borrowed words, which we'll get to as we go ahead. Yeah.
And just to finish out some of the nouns even have diminutive and augmentative meanings. So you have a noun for bird, and here's an average sized bird. So that,
Ndege.
But if you have little birds,
Ndege. It almost sounds the same to a normal person. And please don't be offended when I say normal.
You might be more offended if you said abnormal.
Yes. So their pronunciations, when Andrea pronounces some words, it just cracks us up. But
that's why I'm not pronouncing right now. Okay. So that shows some of the complexities of the language. But as far as getting into basic Swahili and knowing how to have a basic conversation, greet people, ask them, how they are, those are very accessible. I think I have also tried to study Chinese, actually living in Taiwan and trying to study Chinese. I've tried to study Vietnamese. I've tried to study Spanish. Swahili is the one I prefer. To me, it is much more accessible. So I recommend it. And then Wasim just mentioned that there's a lot of adopted foreign words in the language. So if you look at the numbers 6 and 7,
Sita, Saba,
they're both from Arabic. But if you look at where Swahili is spoken along the Indian Ocean there on the east coast of Africa, there was a lot of trade between the Middle East and Africa. So a lot of Arab traders were going up and down the coast trading in goods, and also the Arab slave trade. But so there's a very big Arabic influence on the east coast of Africa, including Islam is very strong along the east coast and in those areas. So you still, even today in the architecture and everything, you can see the Arabic influence, but it's also embedded into the language. And then we have school,
Schule.
which comes from the German. But as many of you may know, Tanzania was colonized by Germany.
Yep.
So it's not surprising there's, some German in there.
Bandera.
That means, bandera means flag, comes from the Portuguese, which the Portuguese during colonial times were all over also. Well, this one is book.
Okay, kitabu.
Which is also from the Arabic. And one of the reasons we chose this book, it's a very famous Kenyan who is also a Nobel Peace Prize winner. So Wangari Maathai, that dealt with the environment. Just a couple more words, one from Hindi.
Pesa.
And if you go to Africa, you see a very strong Indian influence, which really came as a rise during colonial times when both Kenya and India were colonized by the British. When they needed to build a railroad and were not having much success getting the Africans to help build that railroad, they brought Indian workers from India to Kenya to build that. So there's a lot of Indian influence. There's great Indian food. And there's even, there are still families there today that have lived there for generations who ethnically are pure Indian. And of course you have the Africans, but then you have a group of people that intermixed with the Indian and the African.
That would be me.
And when Wasim said he spoke 7 languages, 4 of them are actually Indian languages. One of them was the main language they spoke at their home. So even though it was generations back that the Indian men came, they then intermarried with African women, but they in their homes very much kept their language and things alive from India. So now these Indian languages have been adopted as official Kenyan languages. So a big influence there. And of course, we said they were, the British colonized Kenya. So this is actually a luxury vehicle that's being built in Kenya.
Motor car.
And to say motor car in Kenya, say it again.
Motor car. Almost sounds Japanese. Anyway, that is Swahili.
But anyway, and then one of the last things, insights into Kenyan language and Kenyan culture that kind of go together is Swahili time. Because if you ask somebody what time it is in Kenya and you are translating back from the English, like if it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon and you ask somebody what time it is, they might say saa kumi, which means it's 10 o'clock, which doesn't make sense except once you learn Swahili time. The 2 big events for time in Kenya or in East Africa are sunrise and sunset. And because they're very close to the equator or right on the equator, they're always 12 hours apart. So sunrise takes place at a certain time and sunset takes place at a certain time. So 1 o'clock is 1 hour after sunrise.
So yeah, so it's opposite, basically, backwards. Am I right?
Are you calling us backwards or Swahili time
backwards?
I
think you guys are backwards because we drive on the
left side
of the road and you guys drive on the right side of the road. That's another conversation for another day.
Yes, it is. And Swahili time also kind of blends into African time, which I don't know if you want to say anything about African time.
So in African time, there's a proverb, a very good proverb. They say that you have the watches, you have the clocks, but we have the time. So there is no hurry. When I came here, I got so westernized. Everything had to be done on time. If you have an appointment, you can't be late. So that was my culture shock when I went back home after a while. Went out with my friends, and next day they said, "Hey, what do you want to do?" I said, "Hey, it would be nice to do something early morning. They said, yeah, what time? I said, I don't know what time. They said, about 8 o'clock. So I got up 6, took my shower, had my tea, waited 7 o'clock. I'm like, oh, here, 8 o'clock comes, 9, 10, 11, 12. Like later, almost like 5 in the evening, they show up and they're like, hey, we're here. And I'm like really mad right now. And I'm like, I thought we were doing something at 8 o'clock, but they said, we just said we want to do something in the morning. And so time is, it has no meaning in Africa in many ways because of the infrastructure. So a lot of times when you talk about a language, you want to look at the country, you know. So when if you are to think about Kenya, if I was to ask you, describe Kenya to me, I wonder what, I really would like somebody to tell me. If you haven't been there, please tell me what comes to your mind when you hear the word Kenya. So any volunteers?
I'm gonna get out of screen sharing for a minute and there's some questions.
Okay. So does anyone want to take a jab at what I just asked? Describe Kenya
or Tanzania.
Or Tanzania or any African country.
What comes to my mind when you mention Kenya is the Mau Mau uprising.
My brother, there you go. You see, so you have taken us back to the Independence Day. This is how the Mau Mau fought the British. The African flags have a lot of meaning too. So the Kenyan flag, if I'm right, on the top, it's black, which means it's a black man's country. Then there is red. There was a lot of bloodshed, and that's where the Mau Mau comes in. And they were fierce fighters. They fought for our independence. And then we have white, which means we had peace. And then we have green, which is the land. But you have just said the word Mau Mau to me. I don't know what everybody gets the word Mau Mau means. It's a tribe. It's a tribe, the Kikuyu tribes. But my brother Mohammed, please tell me what comes to your mind besides Mau Mau. What I want a visual.
Beaches in Mombasa. more recently, beaches in Mombasa. When I think of Kenya, that's a stark contrast.
I love that. Okay, so let me give you guys a quick visual of Kenya. So Kenya, you have the really simple village life to the high scrapers. So I have not yet visited a nice hotel in the Western world that exists in Africa.
That is as nice as those.
As nice as, yeah. Our hotels are 10-star, not 5-star. When I say 10-star, I literally mean 10-star. You can go for a safari. You can have a safari, and when you wake up, literally, first of all, you're in the middle of the forest. And then you're at a luxury place where there's a sauna, there's a jacuzzi. I mean, you name it, you got it. And then foods from so many different kinds of foods. And then the luxury rooms. And then the view is just amazing. So you can be having breakfast and you can see the elephants and the lions and the rhino. I mean, it's just an amazing side of that. And then you go from this. A lot of times I do suggest to people when you come to Kenya or when you go to Africa, the continent, a lot of people go from the airport to the hotel to the safari and back, but you miss the culture, you miss the people. And that's where I think we want to bring it in a little bit. It's about Kiswahili and the Swahili, how family is so important to us, you know.
You have a question here,
Okay,
though,
go
that I
ahead.
want to hear you answer this question. You were asked, or I think I said us, but you get asked the
Yes.
question. On the slide with the bird, you have kidege. Didn't you say it has ki? It's speaking of the language. Please
Yes.
explain.
You're the teacher.
Well, this is my job. The professional will get in here. And even words like yes, when you put ki in front of something like Kiswahili, English is Kiingereza. If you talk about like the Akamba tribe, the language is Kikamba. But if you say something is small, like kidogo or kidege with a small bird, ki can also make something diminutive.
Yes.
It depends what it's put onto. So I hope that just clears it up, which it probably didn't necessarily clear it up at all, but I could tell you things in English that don't make any sense too.
So, can we get some more questions?
Or we can teach a song.
We
It's up
can,
to them.
yeah. Andrea loves doing this. As you guys can see, she's a professional. That's why I just smile. She does all the talking. So
I want to see the people we know, how much they're laughing at that statement.
Jim
and Marty are laughing.
there.
Melinda's laughing. They are laughing.
I mean, so and they're laughing at us, not with us. So there's a difference there. Laughing with us and at us. So, but anyway, we can
see if there's questions, but if
not, there's not questions, we have a small thing we can do. We have a slide here that we can maybe teach you guys some simple Swahili words, you know,
with a song.
And
for Andrea and some of you who have been studying Swahili, you probably already know this song, but we'll just play through it once. I'll pull up the words so people can see the words.
I think it'd be nice. Andrea, would you like to try some of your Swahili with me? I'm talking to Andrea on the screen.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Not this one.
Sure. I don't know that much. Ndogo.
Kiswahili kidogo?
Kidogo.
Kidogo.
Yes.
So, okay. All right. So,
are you ready to go? It's full of
yeah. Let's
go through the song.
Let's go to this. This is going.
Except I'm going to need to switch my screen over. So bear with me 1 second. Oh, I have it on my same presentation.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Please.
Days of the week. Days of the week start with Monday as day 1, Juma Moja. But then, sorry?
Yes, go ahead. Finish it.
And Thursday and Friday, or Friday and Saturday, 2 of the days are not number days.
Yes.
Can you explain those days?
So Jumamosi is Saturday.
Right.
Juma itself is.
So
Thursday and Friday are the differently numbered days.
And part of, I know Friday, because Friday is, to kind of put it in Western terms, kind of like the Sabbath day for Muslims. So that is Juma. That is the day. So that one just has day.
Yes, and that's a word again from the Arabic language.
Mm-hmm.
So Juma, and then Halamisi is wow, you made me go back now. I have to say. I have to start from here. So Jumamoja, Jumambili, Jumatatu, Jumanne, Halamisi. Yes, Halamisi, and then Juma, then Jumamosi, and Jumapili. Okay, I got it. Sorry, confused you.
But maybe you can explain how the days. Starting on Monday, it's day 1.
Yes, Juma. That is, in fact, Jumatatu. Day 1 is Jumatatu, which is the 3rd day. I should have pulled this out.
Yes, you should have. You know.
While we do this, this is where. So you guys have to remember, I have lived longer here than I've lived back home, and it is so confusing sometimes. And I have to bring myself to think in a different language. And today is the language that's Swahili, which I don't speak as much as I would like to, because I don't have that many.
Well, I was going to say that if you're wanting to learn Swahili, traveling like to Kenya is probably not the best
yes.
choice of where to go.
Tanzania
because English is the official language. Swahili is the national language, but you run into a lot of English speakers. And even when I was living in Kenya and teaching high school, I was in the rural areas, and school was taught, secondary school was all taught in English. The kids all took a Swahili class, but the other subjects were taught in English. And then when I spoke with the older people in the community, a lot of them wanted to speak to us in English, because if they knew English, it showed us they had a certain level of education. So if we try to speak to them in the local language, some of them, it was a little bit maybe offensive that we weren't thinking that they were educated enough to speak to us in English. So my Swahili actually got better after I came back to the States. But if you want to learn some really good, really pure, nice Swahili, go to Tanzania. Tanzanians speak beautiful Swahili, but you won't find as many English speakers there, which might be a good thing to make you speak the Swahili.
True.
Are you still looking up days of the week?
No. I'm back. So this is kind of sad that I'm the expert of Swahili. So Jumatatu is actually Monday. Jumapili is Sunday. So I have to, Andrea, I'm going to give you my my personal phone number if you like. And I'm going to give it to everyone. What we do is we are certified diversity trainers, so we do this a lot. And I would love for anyone to like.
I just sent it to James and Marty. They already know your phone number.
Andrea. Yep, James and Marty. So, like I was saying, I would love to spend a one-on-one with anybody and give them practice Swahili. We are quarantined right now because of the COVID-19, and my mom lives with me. So
they're all quarantined.
We are all quarantined. Not all of us. I cannot speak for everybody, but if we go ahead, Mohammed.
Is that a one-off, one-to-one, or are you saying on an ongoing basis? It sounds like it sounds like you're offering personal tuition.
Yes, and
I don't know where Lionel got his British accent.
No, because of my lovely nature, I will donate my time to anyone. I sincerely mean this, because I love to interact with people. I love to learn. I love to teach. And I think the best way is when you have a one-on-one with someone, there's less distractions. Right now, I am not nervous because none of you can do anything to me over the Zoom. But being in a classroom, I hate that. And somehow I always get volunteered to do things like this, which is nice. And this is a change. I feel empowered here. Nobody can do anything to me. I can even like talk to you guys, you know. But you have my phone number there,
and your email,
and my email address. Seriously, feel free to send me a text. Tell me who you are. Send me your number, and we can set up a time. I'll give you like half an hour to an hour, and it can be an ongoing relationship.
I'll definitely take.
Is that also a cell phone? Is that textable?
Yes, this is how important you guys are to me, that I'm giving you my direct phone number. You don't have to go through my my people. So your people don't have to call my people. You can directly call me.
Other questions. So we do have a song that we can play that gives some of the introductory, like hello, how are you type parts of Swahili. It is a great way to learn that. In fact, our kids all knew that song growing up, and year before last, I think, because these years are starting to blend in together. But the high school where our daughter was in choir, the choir decided to sing the song, and the teacher didn't know our daughter already knew the song, but she ended up teaching it and helping with pronunciation. But it is one of those that when our kids have gone to Kenya and people will say, like, greet them and say Jambo, they know how to respond because they learned the song. So we will share that with you. But before we get to that, if there's anybody that has questions, thoughts, difficult questions that maybe we cannot answer.
I posted a question in the chat.
Do you see Swahili becoming an Africa-wide spoken language for the future?
Yes and yes. Number one, Kenya being very politically stable, so it is a lot of foreign investors come to Kenya.
Or through as a gateway to Africa.
Yes, Kenya is actually the gateway to Africa. Tanzania would want to fight with us on that, but Kenya is the gateway to Africa. So Swahili is very commonly spoken in at least, I would say, we named a few countries, but I think at least 17 countries. When I first came here, I worked for a refugee resettlement, and to my surprise, I would find people from DRC and Sudan, and they would be speaking Swahili.
Somalia.
Yes, and a lot, and like you said, it's an easy language to learn, and the Sudanese already spoke Arabic, so it was much easier for them to learn.
Well, part of it too, Swahili. The people that came as refugees, a lot of them ended up in refugee camps in Kenya. Yes. So they picked up the Swahili there. But to look at your question a little bit, if things had gone kind of the way they were going earlier with some of the European and Western powers doing a lot in Africa, that really helped also with the spread of English, because a lot of Europeans speak English. So if they went to Africa and they could find English speakers, it was, and English being a lot of the business language of the world, that was really being enforced. So the need to speak Swahili wasn't growing at that point in time. But, and I don't know if it's something intentional on the part of China and some of the other players that are coming in now, as Wasim mentioned, Chinese now are teaching kids from a young age growing up Swahili. In part, and actually about 100% of the reason why is so people are positioned to do business in Africa.
Yeah, you guys.
So with that influence, putting an emphasis back on Swahili as the language of business and a language of commerce, it will help with the rise of Swahili and the spread of Swahili even within Africa. Because for a while, especially kids even in Kenya that grew up in Nairobi and some places, they didn't really speak. And the school system, when I was teaching, I said that the high school was in English and everybody took a Swahili class. Well, elementary and the primary schools were taught in Swahili and everybody took an English class. A few years back, they changed it. So all the way through, it's all English, but they're supposed to take Swahili. So you would meet some Kenyans here that came from Nairobi that really couldn't speak Swahili very well. But with this new emphasis on the business side and the development and commerce side, it could be changing back the other direction some.
China has taken a very keen interest. If you guys ever like just Google, there's a lot of Chinese choirs that speak that sing in Swahili, and they're amazing. We have one more question.
Oh yes, Anna saying, my understanding Swahili was a more man-made language, internationally developed between Arabic speaking traders and Bantu speaking Africans of 1400. So yes, that is accurate. We said it was Bantu based with a lot of influence, but yeah, one of the main influences is Arabic, and they're very closely allied there. So, and it is what developed because of trade. And even then it was taken inland because a lot of the traders, they would come down the coast
from Portugal,
but they would get their crew to help them go into Africa from people who lived along the coast. So then that helps Swahili spread inward some, but yeah, very much based in a Bantu language, very much based in Arabic.
Out of curiosity, you say that is Zanzibar Swahili any different than like Swahili in Kenya?
Yeah.
When they decided to formalize Swahili into like standardize the language, they chose the Zanzibari Swahili as the model for that.
Yes.
So Zanzibar, yes,
So
very much.
I would give you a prime example. Would be like in America, you guys don't speak English. In England,
Lionel Muhammad speaks English.
In England, they speak proper English. So that's the difference. So if you were to look at Kenya and Tanzania, it would be like Kenya would be like America when it came to the bad Swahili. When you go to Tanzania, and so the Tanzanian Swahili, there's a lot of respect when you talk to your elders. There is a certain way of speaking, and they will immediately identify that you are not a Tanzanian.
But part too, if you stay along the coast, even up near Somalia, where the island of Lamu is, which is very Arabic and very strong in Swahili, and all the way down the coast into the coastal tribes. In fact, the Swahili tribe is a coastal tribe. When Wasim's mother was raised on the coast, their Swahili is very much more the pure, strong Swahili like Tanzania. But as you get inland from there, it gets a little less.
Yeah. So yeah.
I don't actually see my English as that good, to be perfectly honest. My Jamaican's much better. much better than my English. It really is.
Well,
have you ever met a Swahili speaking Jamaican before?
No. But I believe
I might be the first Jamaican that's aspiring to speak fluent Swahili then in the world.
Tuongee Kiswahili kabisa moja kwa moja.
Nitajaribu.
Umenifurahisha. You see, this is what I love. So I told him we should continue speaking in Swahili one-on-one, and he replied very kindly that he will try his best. So it's amazing. This is very intriguing. Thank you. And please.
Now we have to hear from some of your other Swahili speakers there.
I know Jim speaks fluent Swahili. Just messing with you, Jim.
Oh, Shang. I'm glad you brought up Shang. Yes.
That is the
it's if you see Anne, we're going to make Anne get on camera and talk here too.
Yeah, and we need to see you. This is not fair.
But she's asking about Shang. Shang is really the slang, and it is a mix of Swahili and English. It is taught spoken mostly in Nairobi, where I just said a lot of kids who grew up in Nairobi just speak mostly English with some broken Swahili.
Yes.
And that's kind of the rise of Shang. And if you listen to a lot of the hip hop and other current language or current music from Kenya and East Africa, a lot of Shang will be mixed in that. But it is looked at as more of a slang, even though it's more of a real language than slang here in the US.
In simpler word, it was more ghetto than the actual. So,
but more widely spoken.
More widely spoken, and it's taken a role of its own by the young upcoming the young artists. They express themselves better in Shang. It's a way of getting away with murder. You could talk Shang and a Swahili speaker that you could speak Shang without somebody understanding you. So that's one of the nice things about Shang. It's a.
If you want to hear some, I'd recommend looking up some Swahili rap, and a lot of that will be in Shang.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, and I'm sorry, I'm not feeling well tonight. Otherwise, I would be on camera.
Well, your picture's beautiful, so.
Well, much prettier than the face right now. I'm enjoying listening in.
But no, we love your input and your questions. Let's see if she has anything else that will stump you or fool you. But I think we're getting close on our time too. Evan's going to cut us off here soon.
Yes. So let's do this really famous Swahili song.
We could see if there's no last comments or questions, we could put on this song and close us out. If you want to just learn some basic introductory words in Swahili, I recommend this song for that. But
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna do the share screen again because I have the words on the screen over here. So let me pull this up.
And since you guys are muted, sing your heart out.
Let me make this big. Okay, I hope the sound is okay. If not, forgive me, but it's called Jambo Bwana. Andrea has a question here.
Go, Andrea.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment that wherever we were in Tanzania, this was sung to us every day.
It is the tourist song of East Africa.
Yes, it's a welcome thing, you know. So
and there's various versions of
it.
I have one that's sung by Them Mushrooms, which is kind of the classic one, but they're all on YouTube, and hopefully the sound is good. But we have it here with the Swahili and the English translation. But as you can see, it'll at least get you in somebody's door if you need some Swahili.
Jambo, jambo bwana, habari gani? Nzuri sana. Wageni mwakaribishwa Kenya yetu, hakuna matata.
You see, matata and matako can be almost mistaken. So you're gonna let the whole thing play? What?
I know we don't need to let more of it play.
Okay, we have one more question.
We stop screen sharing.
So Jambo Bwana, Abarigani. So if somebody says Jambo, the easiest way, since you are all from here, Missouri means hello, like fine. So when somebody says Jambo, you can say Missouri, like the state. It's not spelled that way, but
it's not quite pronounced.
Yes, yeah, not good, but it's the close enough. So Evans.
Well, thank you so much to Wasim and Andrea. I appreciate you all taking.
Thank you, Andrea.
Yeah. And yes, thank you so much, everyone, for taking some time out of this somewhat exhausting day to learn a little bit more about Swahili. And it means so much that you've given all the support to the IRC over these, this last difficult year, really. So we hope you join for an event in the future. And please look up the organizations that Andrea and Wasim are involved in Kansas City. Ethnic Enrichment Commission, Indigenous to Indigenous, Baraza, African Culture Center, all these are doing.
And we do have a lot of material that we can share with you guys. So we have a lot, seriously a lot. So don't be shy. Don't feel like, just ask, and we shall provide.
Wonderful. Seeing all of our old friends.
Yes, it's wonderful to see.
Great to make some new ones. So thank you.
Yes. It's amazing, and I like how diverse this screen is here right now. This is just beautiful.
Yeah, it really is. So thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to see you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.